Best moment, Jonathan, from my summer tour to Argentina, I think was Marlon Yard's try in the second test. So for me, it was the best team try we'd scored. If you remember the play, we ended up with Carleton passing the ball back on the inside to Marlon Yard, and he scored on the post. And we kept the ball for about 7 or 8 phases, and it was the integration of forward backs and the work we'd done in training that came into fruition, and the try was the culmination. So that was my best moment. But as Walsh just said, winning both tests obviously was right up there as well. I think we're ranked 4th in the world at the moment. We've narrowed the gap between ourselves, South Africa and Australia. We've won 7 out of the last 8 games, so we're definitely closing the gap. What we're going to do is consistently put in performances like we did against Scotland, against New Zealand, in the Argentina tour, and we've got to do it this autumn. You know, so we've got Australia first, followed by Argentina, followed by New Zealand. So we're going to be tested. But in order to do that, we're just going to be consistently at the highest level. And I think with the young team we've got huge potential to improve and grow and be consistent at the highest level. I do think we've closed the gap. I think, you know, when I looked at the Lions' performances, and I thought, well, if that was England, I'd be hopeful we would have done the same thing, is the truth. South Africa, I think, having been there last summer, always a difficult team to play against. Physically, they're incredibly tough and strong, physical. And I think under Heineken Meyer, they've made good progress. And obviously the Rugby Championship will tell us a lot about New Zealand. You know, certainly in the Super 15, you wouldn't say the New Zealand sides have dominated. I think we are narrowing the gap. I think we'll know a lot more after the autumn internationals, and obviously our tour to New Zealand in the summer. Well, I think Andy Farrell and Graham Rowntree had a big part to play, and I think Andy's particularly, I could see the way they were defending and how much pressure they put on the Australians. So I think from a management point of view, and having been out there, I know the influence those two had in amongst Warren Gatland and Rob Howley. So I think that was a big thing. I think the overriding message I gave the players before they left, I wanted our players to come back and be known as the most professional, the most humble, the least arrogant, most talented, the most hungry to learn. And I spoke to various people and I said, you know, how do our lads come across? And they all said exactly the same thing, that's how they were. So that was a great thing. Tom Youngs was fantastic, Mako, fantastic, Corbs. I mean, I sat with Corbs in Salter when I got the phone call about Keane Healy's injury. And I remember I sat by the swimming pool and I said, right, you're not playing on the weekend. He said, why is that? I said, because you're off to Australia, and you never know, Corbs. You might squeeze your way into a test. Little did we know, you know, he became the man, didn't he? He became the man. So to have those sorts of young players getting those experiences, I think overall, everyone from England emerged with credit. I think that's all you can ask for, isn't it? You know, not everyone's going to play in every game, but even your Billy Twelvetrees and your Brad Barretts and your Christian Wades who went out there late, they all emerged with credit and will be better players for the experience. When I was out there, what I think our players learned from was what do the top players do? What have the top players done to be the best, and why are they still the best? And I spoke to Andy Farrell yesterday when we were chatting about it, and he says it was their work ethic and attention to detail that made them. So there was sort of a group of players. There was this group of top players who were always watching the videos, want to know exactly the detail of the game plan, wanting to know exactly all the information they could about their opposite number or their attacking game plan or the way they wanted to play the game, the Australian sides. And these players sort of stood apart, and there was another group of players who were thinking, Christ, that's the way, you know. And they're all pretty good professionals, but we're talking about the next level. I'm hoping a massive advantage, and I think it will be. If you look at Andy Murray at Wimbledon, you look at the Olympics, you look at the Ashes, and all the home events that we've had, and the amount of energy that gets generated from the crowd and from the support, I think it's huge. you look at our game against New Zealand and the momentum the crowd gave, and also conversely, you look at what Wales gave to Wales when they played us. I think it can contribute 10-15% to the performance.